is everybody today? This crazy, crazy world we're living in, right? I'm so glad you guys could come. We're going to be going over the two platforms we're going to be using, which is going to be Class Dojo and Google Classroom. Do we have any kindergarten parents here? Okay. Oh, you want me to use the mic?
Yeah, please.
We're going to be going over Class Dojo and Google Classroom. If you have students going into first grade, you're probably not as aware of Google Classroom. So we're going to be going over those features, but first we're going to be going over Class Dojo. Now, Class Dojo is a feature that teachers use to communicate with parents. They also use it as a behavior management tool, and also to get information out to parents in real time. And also, students are able to upload work they're working on virtually at home. So we're going to go over all of those features with you so that you feel a little bit more confident in using those with your students. So we're going to start with Google Class Dojo and then move towards Google Classroom.
Hi, before we do that though, we're just going to introduce ourselves. I'm Sue Maya. I am the master teacher for elementary. I was a teacher for the district, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade for the last 17 years. This is Nora Green. She's our new RTI data coach for the elementary, the K-1-2 building. She was a teacher for 1st grade and 5th grade.
And everything in
we're
between.
resources and everything in between.
Yeah.
So today, again, like Mrs. Green said, we're going to provide you some information on the two platforms that most of your teachers will be using. Preschool, I'm not sure if they're using Google Classroom, probably Class Dojo.
Most likely Class Dojo.
Kindergarten, absolutely Class Dojo, and possibly Google Classroom. 1st grade and up, Class Dojo and Google Classroom. So Google Classroom, everyone will be using, some of them Class Dojo. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Okay. So we're going to begin with Class Dojo. Class Dojo can be put on your phone as well as on your Chromebook or your computer. You can use it through there. Class Dojo is a great feature for the teachers because they love it because it uses a behavior management mod in there. So that's why a lot of the younger teachers use it because they have these cute little characters that the students can create and then they get points for good behavior. All right, so the first thing that you will do when you want to create an account is your teacher, whoever your student's teacher is, will send you an email. That email, then you will open and click on the link, and that will be your invite. When you open that link, you're going to then click on I'm so-and-so's parent, click on that button. Once you open that button, you're going to enter your first name, last name, email address, and give it a password. And then you will be able to sign up and just hit sign up.
Anybody have any questions so far with this? We want to make sure that everybody really understands. This is pretty simple.
This is your first way into Class Dojo. If your child sends you, if your teacher's child sends you an email.
We're going to show you another way that you'll be able to access as well.
So if you already have the Class Dojo app, your teacher can send you the code. You can then put that code into where it says create a parent account using the unique parent code. That code will go into the link. Your child's teacher will give you the code. If you've not received that code, you can reach out to your teacher. Most likely you'll be getting the email, the first version. Sometimes students, some reason, log out or they don't remember their password. So then you can reach out to your teacher and they will send you the code so that you can get back in. That make sense? Okay. This is your child's home page. So the child has a home page. I'm sorry. This is the parent's home page. Rewind. This is your home page. So this is the parent's home page. This is what it looks like. You have two tabs on the top. You have one that says home, one that says messages. You have a tab on the right-hand corner that says your child's name.
Remember this for right now because we're going to be talking about this tab in a few minutes is where you're going to be able to access account information. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
This over here are where your students will be. So if you have more than one child, you'll see there will be, your students will be under here. The home page is the news feed from the teacher. So anything the teacher sends out to you, you will see on this home page. It's like a Facebook page. She might say, good morning, send you a picture, send you announcements by saying, don't forget, it's 2 o'clock, hand in an assignment. That's where you will find all that information. She can even put links in there for you. So if you have a link to another site, she'll put it all in the news feed homepage.
And also, this will be where the teacher might give you the links to the Google Classroom, which we're going to talk about after. So any relative or important information the teacher wants the parent to know, that is going to be on the home screen that you'll find. And I taught 5th grade last year, and I use this a lot if I want to remind parents that there was a test, and I would upload flashcards. I would upload homework sheets. I would upload things that the children need to use to study. So this is really a great feature that's instant. Teacher uploads it, it's right there. This is also public. So if you have a concern or something that you want to be private, you wouldn't want to comment under any of these. Mrs. Mayer is going to go over where you're going to do that. Thank you, Mrs. Green. Yes.
And if you do have your phone linked up to this, you can get reminders that every time your teacher sends you something, it will beep for you, and it will come right up. So if you want that to be a feature on your phone, you can get that on your phone. And we'll show you at the very end. If you want us to help you, we can help you with that. The message tab is where you will have a private conversation between you and the teacher. So if there's a concern you have with your student, we suggest you put it in the message and not in the home page unless you want everyone else to see it. The home page, again, is for you and everybody else in that classroom. So every parent and the teacher sees what's in the home page. But if you have something you want private, go through that message.
And we'll show you the next page. Just keep this in the back of your mind. Just to talk about that in a minute.
So this is what your message page looks like, similar to a text, but it's between you and the teacher only. So no one else can see what's being written on there except you and the teacher. Unless the teacher links in another parent. So sometimes the teacher might do 3 or 4 parents in one message.
Does anybody have any questions about the messaging tool or the home page? We're good? Okay. Any questions from our virtual friends? Mary?
No, someone just asked if we're going to be discussing the structure of the school day or just the tutorial on Dojo and Classroom, so just answering that.
Okay, perfect.
But other than that, we're good.
These are the compatible browsers and devices. So I'm just going to give you a second to look over that. This is what you would need to use Dojo. Most people have not had any issues. Most newer phones have it. You can get it on your desktop, a Chromebook, all kinds of things. Kindle Fire. So just take a look. I'll give you a few minutes there.
Okay, now that feature that Mrs. Green was telling you to look at on the right-hand side, it had the child's name there. That is where you would click on in the upper right-hand corner if you want to change your preferred language. So if there's a language you're more comfortable with, you can get all the news feed from that teacher in your preferred language. When it goes out to the teacher, it goes back into English. So even though you're writing it in your preferred language, we see it in English. So you would open up in the right-hand corner where Mrs. Green was showing you. You're going to open up account settings. Then you're going to open where it says language preference. You will pick your preference. There are several different preferences in there. Then you will hit Save Changes, and that will allow you then to see it in your language that you're comfortable with. Questions on that?
This is the child's class report, and this is great. This is where you can see everything that's going on in your child's classroom as it relates to behavior. So if you're concerned about your child paying attention or other things, it will be set up here. What's great about this is the teacher will make it specific to her. There's like common comments like paying attention. There could also be new ones like wore his mask, did not wear his mask, things that are relevant to what's ever going on today in the classroom. The teacher has control to make these unique to her. So as a parent, you have real-time access to see how your child's doing in the classroom. This is an example of a parent report. Now, in 5th grade last year, what we used to do is every week, the weekly report would go home and parents had to sign it so that they were aware of their child's behavior throughout the whole week. And a lot of times, teachers have incentives for the students when they have a certain amount of points or a certain percentage. There might be a pencil or extra computer time or some kind of special reward for good behavior. So Mrs. Mayo is going to go over how you log in to see this report. I just want you to have a clear understanding of what this report is. This is strictly behavior and different things that go on in the classroom. So this is definitely if you want to keep an eye on what your child's doing. I know for my son, who actually had Mrs. Mayo, I'd be like, uh-oh, not paying attention, not doing homework. I knew right away what was going on. So it really was a great feature for me as a parent. Mrs. Green?
So for you to view this, you will log into your parent account, not the teachers, or the students. Select the name of your child if you have more than one, and then you're going to click on All Stories. Then you're going to click View Report. You could switch between viewing points for this week or last week, so you can see all of the reports from the very first day to just that week.
Or just that day.
And this presentation will be posting up on the website, so those of you who want, this will be up there for you, and we're also going to be doing like a voiceover to explaining it as well. So if you wanted to take notes, you'll know that it's posted later. All right, now this is the child's homepage. The child and the teacher and the parent all have different homepages. So the biggest feature or the biggest difference between the child and the parent are the two tabs up on the top. You all have home, but the child has what's called the portfolio feature. This is a very important feature because this is where the child will be submitting all of their work.
This is especially for our younger students, where a lot of times kindergarten, first grade students, when they're maybe on their virtual day, the teacher might give them assignments like write your sight words in chalk, make your sight words in Play-Doh, maybe more hands-on things. This is where you would take a picture of that, a photo of that, or a video of that, or a file and upload that, and the teacher would see that. You can access this portfolio through the shortcut, which is right here, that will be up on the student's homepage. Parents will not have access to this. It will be through the student as the student logs in. Or you can click on portfolio. So for example, there might be an assignment in the morning on their virtual day where it's journal write. They can click on journal and they can type in, kind of like they would normally in the classroom in the morning, their morning message or their question of the day. The teacher might assign it through here. They might say, make a video of you singing your ABCs, and you would upload that here. Oh, go back. Apologize. Now, your student has the ability to log into Class Dojo in 3 different ways. And you can pick whichever one's comfortable for you and your student. There's a scanned QR code that you can get from your teacher. You just scan it with the phone or your computer or their iPad and it'll log them right in. They can get a very simple text code, a 5 or 6 digit code that they just type in. It logs them in. Every student also will be given a Google email through Barnegat Township Schools. They will be able to log in with that as well. So these are the 3 different options, so you choose what works best for your child.
And it doesn't have to be the same each time. So for instance, one time you want to do the QR, one time you want to do the text, it could be whatever one of those 3.
Now this was the one area that we found that a lot of parents when we were virtual in the spring were having trouble with. So if you have a question, I'll be more than happy to go over it with you now. Is everyone clear with this? Like, we're here to help, so whatever you need. Yes?
Are we going to be using the same email? Like, my daughter had a registered email last year.
She had a school email last year, it'll be the same.
It'll be the same?
It'll all be the same, yes. If she's your kindergarten friends, when they register, then they go get a new email. But your email stays the same from kindergarten through 12th grade. Good question.
Yes, thank you. Also, wait, I just wanted to go over one thing here. When your child on their homepage, make sure that they're in the right class, because again, if they have more than one teacher, they might have several classes here, so you make sure that they're in the class that you want them to see the work from.
Yeah, so let me go with that one. This is actually my daughter's dojo that I'm showing everybody. So she was in Mr. Grazio's class last year. She was also in drama club, so she was also in drama club, so there was a dojo for drama club, so I could get messages. And we added her to the master teacher class so that we could show you. So if I wanted to see what she was doing in Mr. Grazio's class or upload, I'd have to make sure that she clicks on the Grazio's class. So they can be in more than one class. Usually, I'd say with our younger friends, they will probably only be in maybe one. So maybe two for special.
Questions on that?
We do have one quick question.
Okay.
So who creates the student account, the teacher or the parent?
Who creates the student account?
That'll be the teacher.
The teacher. The
Okay.
teacher's going to send them an invite.
Okay.
Once that invite they receive through the email. So the teacher will create her class. She'll put all her students in. Once she's done creating that class, she has to invite each parent for each student. So when she invites you, you will receive your email. Your email will have that link that we showed them in the very beginning. You'll open that link up and follow those directions.
Perfect.
Yep, so all student accounts are driven by the teacher. Only thing the parent has to worry about is making their parent account.
Okay.
The teacher will make the student account.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're just going to show a short video that kind of is a really good very good animation of the portfolio right from the Class Dojo company. Just about 2 minutes, but this will kind of give you a great overview.
Hey there, today I'm going to show you how parents and families can help their student post to their portfolio. As a parent, when you log in, you'll first select your icon in the top left corner and toggle to your student's account. Now that I'm logged in as Caitlin, you can see all the classes that she's in. There are classes with no activities. As you can see, the check is grayed out, and there's a class with 5 activities. When we go there, you can see the to-do list of activities that the teacher has assigned. I can press on one and complete that, or press start and hand my device to my student. I can also see what Caitlin's working on. I can see that there is a draft here, meaning she started something, but she hasn't submitted it yet. And then a pending item, meaning she submitted it, but the teacher hasn't approved it yet. I can also create a new portfolio post by pressing the blue plus sign and selecting if I want to add a journal entry, a video, a photo, or a drawing. And that's it. As you can see, it's super easy to toggle over to your student's account to be able to see what activities have been assigned to them, whether you're helping them log in and post to their account, or you're helping your kiddo post to their portfolio.
So when your child submits any work through the portfolio,
For more helpful videos, articles, and more, check out the help desk at
the teacher has to approve it
Can I
first.
just say this real quick?
Yes.
I'm very sorry.
No.
They said, when should we expect to receive an email from your teacher? Like, probably in the first few days of
I would
school.
say in the very beginning of school, once they get their class list, then they can probably start sending out information, right?
Yes.
But back to the portfolio, when your child submits any work, comes to the teacher has to approve it. So if the teacher doesn't approve it, or if it's not up there right away, because when you go into the home page, those portfolios, you'll start seeing the work. You might not see your child's work uploaded yet because it wasn't approved.
So I know some of the concerns from parents in the spring was they didn't see their child's work there and they were uploading it and uploading it and uploading it. Well, give it a second because the teacher's got to approve it. So a lot of times teachers are getting 5 or 6 uploads of the exact same thing. So it is there, but it's just so it doesn't go public, the teacher has to approve to make sure it's appropriate. We don't have any kids trying to make jokes or anything. So that's the purpose of the teacher approving it.
Okay. And that's it on Class Dojo. Any questions? All right, so we're going to move on to Google Classroom then. Any questions, Mary? For our Class
Not
Dojo?
for you guys.
Okay. Google Classroom. The reason why the district uses the Google Classroom platform is because we're all using Google. And when you're using Google Classroom, the teacher can send work individually to the students. That's the best part of the Google Classroom. So that's really why they're using it. It's another way for them to post information and for them to send assignments. When they're using both, they might link Google Classroom into the class story of Class Dojo or vice versa.
The Google Classroom is accessible from computer, laptop, and the phone. So as a teacher myself, I was able to go into the Google Classroom, post onto my stream. I was able to post assignments, especially when the electric went out and I was teaching summer school. Those poor kids, I had to upload it all from my phone. But it is accessible from all these different things. And it's important to note that your child will most likely be using both platforms. They'll be using definitely Google Classroom and most likely Class Dojo, because most teachers do like that because you're able to communicate with parents quickly. The teachers are also available via email, so just know that there's going to be different ways you're going to be able to get to be able to communicate with your child's teacher.
At any time you have questions about any of this, email your child's teacher. They'll get back to you that way, even though maybe she's asking you to go through Class Dojo. If you're having difficulty, email your teacher. Okay, so joining a class. In order for them to join a class, your student, your child, they have to be on the barnegatschools.com address. So the child has to go in through their Google, to their own home. Right. So when they sign into the Google Chrome, they're going to go into the Google Apps on the top right-hand corner. It looks like a little waffle.
We call it the waffle. We tell the kids, go to the waffle, you will find it. So that's kind of the little saying that the kids are.
So they're going to open up their waffle. When they open up the waffle, they're going to see this little icon for Google Classroom. You're going to click on that Google Classroom, and that will take you to the home page of Google Classroom. Some of your students, especially the upper grades, will have more than one tile when we show you what the Google Classroom site looks like.
So in this particular Google Classroom that we have a screenshot of, there's only Mrs. Burke's ELA class. When a student logs in, especially if you have an older student, they might have one for Mrs. Burke, then one for Mrs. Green, and then one for Mrs. Mayo. What we're going to go over with you right now is how a student joins a class. So this is where it can sometimes get confusing. You will be generated a code from your teacher. Most likely, I say most likely because there's always something that can happen, your students on the first day of in-class learning, if your students are coming in the hybrid model, this will be gone over in class with the teacher. So the teacher will make sure all students are joined before they have to go virtual.
Okay. Yes, okay, so you're going to go into the waffle again. You see the little cross in the right-hand corner, you're going to click on that. It's going to ask you to join a class. And then there's going to be a little bar there, and you're going to type in the code that the teacher provided for you. This is the overview of a class, Google Classroom. This is Mrs. Burke's ELA class. This is where you'll find the main menu. This is where you're going to see upcoming assignments, so the child can see what's coming up and what is due. This is the stream page, kind of like that Class Dojo home page. This is where announcements will be. This is the classwork tab. That's a very important tab for the student because that is where they will find their assignments. And that is back to the waffle if they want to go back to the home page.
Does anybody have any questions on this? We're good?
The stream is where the announcements are happening. So when the teacher is sending you a classwork assignment, it will be posted in the stream. Once they open it though, it takes them right to classwork. So the stream is like, hey boys and girls, welcome to class, here are your assignments. And then when they open it, it takes them to the classwork tab, and that is where all the assignments are.
One thing that I wanted to touch on with this with parents is also that this stream is public. So when a student wants to comment, like a lot of times as a teacher, students would be like, Mrs. Green, your link's not working. And I'd be like, oh, let me go check it. But what I want to make very clear is that this is public. So if a student posts something, it's going to be shown to everybody and any teacher that's on there. So we go over etiquette rules and what's appropriate and what's not. Also, parents do not have access to Google Classroom. So if you had a question about what's going on in class, your best bet is to message through Class Dojo and not log in as a student and post something on here, because that means every student who's in this class will see that. So any questions or concerns should definitely go through email or messenger and not on this live stream, because everybody will see it. We just had some issues with that last year, and people was posting private things that shouldn't have been on there. So the teacher does have the ability to delete things that aren't appropriate, but just so you know, it is taken as seriously as if the child was in the classroom. So appropriate school etiquette is expected.
Yes. Questions on that?
I don't know if this is, well, she's asking, how do you archive classes for Class Dojo and Google Classroom from last year or summer school?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me show you.
The parents need to do that? The teacher does that?
The student might have to do that.
Okay.
So when they open up their tile, there's like a little snowman there. There's 3 little dots. We're going to click on that, and there's going to be an archive button. So they can archive their old classes if they
That's a
want.
good question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good question.
This is the classwork tab, very important feature in Google Classroom. This is where the students will find all of their work. Some teachers do it by topic. Some teachers just have their daily work up there. So that you will click on the classwork, click on view work, and open up these little tabs here, and that will bring you right to their assignments. Also, when an assignment is being sent out by the teacher, it goes directly into the child's Google Calendar. So if they open up their calendar, they'll see where their assignments are as well. And it also then goes right into the teacher's drive of that child's work. So the teacher will see their work right away, right?
Yes. And it just, I wanted to touch base too, because a lot of times the question of the day, depending on how the teacher sets it up, will be how teachers, when students are virtual, will be determining attendance. So it is important for the student every day to make sure that they're going on and they're looking at what their work is within that school day. Because most likely that is how attendance will be taken on days that are virtual, or if students are choosing to go all virtual.
Any questions on the classwork tab? Now, when a teacher is using both, most likely, if she's using Class Dojo, she can take the stream, this page, and she'll link it right into the Class Dojo story. So when you, as the parent, open up the Class Dojo story, there might be a link in there for you, and it will take you right to Google Classroom. So that's how she'll merge the two.
This is really important. When referring to grading, some teachers do set up the weights correctly within Google Classroom, but when you want to see your child's grade, go to the parent portal. That is going to be updated. Not everything that's coming up in Google Classroom will be the appropriate grade. I know a lot of times if I wasn't grading something, I might be using it as a participation. It would come up as a 0 in Google Classroom, when in reality it was 100 in the parent portal. So always go to the parent portal to verify grades. Just want to be clear on that, because sometimes parents will see like, oh my God, they didn't do any work, and it just is because it was updated in the portal and not in Google Classroom.
Not all teachers use the Google Classroom to put their grades in. but they have to put it in Genesis. Is that questions on that? All right, this is now a very important feature in your settings. Your child has to make sure that all these settings are on in order for them to get the correct emails. So when you're trying to find the settings, you're going to go into the main menu icon in the top left and click on Settings. So that's your main menu. Here's where it says Settings. Be sure to turn on all the notifications you'd like to receive. We suggest they turn them all on. It is recommended that your child turns them all on. All email notifications will be sent to your child's school provider email. Parents cannot join Google Classroom accounts. So this email goes to the students.
And I know most likely, just so you don't get too stressed, the teacher will be helping the students set this up in the classroom. Just to be clear, so don't be like, oh my God, I gotta go and make sure I'm gonna get confused. Your child's teacher is gonna work with the child to make sure that all the settings are set, but in the event that something's not working or they didn't get there or you have an all virtual child, you're gonna wanna make sure that this is set.
Questions on that? All right, this is what is called Guardian Summaries. The difference with Google Classroom and Class Dojo. Class Dojo, you have your own homepage, you get pictures, you get information. Google Classroom, you're getting a summary of the work. So you don't have your own homepage, you're just getting a summary sent to you by email.
So what will happen is the teacher has to manually enroll you in this. If the teacher didn't get around to manually enrolling you, you can always send your teacher a message via Dojo or via their school email, and they can get you set up on this. What this will do is this will send you an email. It's just a standard email. It's nothing, that your teacher sends. It comes directly from Google, but it'll let you know upcoming assignments. Were they handed in? Were they not handed in? This was helpful for me as a parent of a 6th grader who told me his work was done, and I would get this to see it wasn't done, and then I immediately knew I could email the teacher or get on my son to make sure his work was done. So this was kind of gave me another way for me to keep track of my children's work.
And this is what you'll be sent. So you'll see Spencer Campbell invite you as a guardian in Google Classroom. You'll get a weekly summary of Noah's progress with missing and upcoming work, like Mrs. Green was just saying.
And we're going to show you an example.
So this is an example of what you will receive as the parent if you sign up for getting these messages. So on here you can see missing from last week these assignments. So that means that student did not hand in that work to the teacher. And then he is saying due next week, so you can see what is coming so that you can be helpful in getting your child to be organized and handing in their work, right?
Does anybody have any questions about this? Any questions there, Mary?
No, just want someone copies of presentations, so I'll take care of that. What else? No, asking about live streaming. So, someone did ask about archiving Dojo, but I figured I'd wait till you finish Google.
Yes, I'll
Yes,
take them
perfect.
over there.
Yep.
All right, and that is it for us. Depending on the nature of your child's schooling, the type of class he's enrolled in, there will be a slight variation with Google Classroom. So depending on what your teacher sets up for you, it could look a little different. And that's it. When in doubt, email your child's teacher.
We're all in this together. I know it's a crazy time.
We really, truly appreciate you coming, and if you have any other questions, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys mind doing the Dojo thing?
Yes, we'll take her back to that.